Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5 The Zone. Welcome in on a Tuesday morning. Had a lot of Monday Night Football. The Seattle Seahawks get their first loss. They get beat by Detroit. Seattle does not look like an elite team in the NFC. They don't look like a Super Bowl team. They do look like a playoff team, especially given the injuries the Niners and the Rams have. Why couldn't they win the division? And if one of those teams gets healthy and wins the division, why can't they be a wild card? I think they can. Now, top of the NFC to the Super Bowl. Yeah, I don't see that. Miami, maybe Tyler Huntley with another week or two of practice will look sharper, but had some big plays there for the making. Underthrew one ball that might have been a touchdown. Overthrew another one that might have been a touchdown. Just not clicking. And I don't know if it's because he's brand new to the offense or he hasn't thrown with the receivers, but clearly they weren't quite all there on the same page. Baseball, the Mets and Braves split their doubleheader. That eliminates the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Mets and Braves are into the postseason, and they got to fly and begin playing right away. Game one was wild. That was a crazy game with the Mets down 3-0, getting 6 in the top of the eighth to take the lead, giving up 4 in the bottom of the eighth to fall behind 7-6, and then getting the 2-run homer in the ninth to win it 8-7. Crazy game. Braves win the second game, so Arizona's out of the playoffs. All right. Let's pivot now to Jazz Media Days. We had a chance to talk with several players yesterday. Walker Kessler, third-year guy. Is he ready to break out? Walker Kessler with PK and I here on The Zone. There are so many questions about this Jazz team, and I think the fans have watched enough young guys come through. You know the rookies, you know the challenges that could come in the second year, even if you have success in the first one. But third-year guys, they're ready for third-year guys to break out. You're the third-year guy.
I'm the third-year guy.
And when you started laughing halfway through that because you knew where it was going.
No question.
I assume you've had the third-year talk with somebody, whether it's Will Hardy, Danny Ainge, Justin Zanuck.
No question. I'm excited for this year. It's another opportunity to play and to do what I love, and so I'm going into it with no expectations, but understand I put in the work this offseason, so I'm ready for it.
Yeah, you're only 23 years old, but yet you're like 3 years older than half the team.
It's wild. It's wild.
It really is crazy when you think about it. You're obviously so young. Where do you think you are on your progression with your game?
I think obviously you can always get better, but I do think that this year is a big jump from last year and even my rookie year. I think that the past 2 years I've learned a lot, and going into this year, I'm just going to go in it with the right attitude, and I'm super excited.
We're old enough that when we started doing this, summers were fairly unstructured. They weren't completely unstructured, right, which they had been. Mm-hmm. I mean, you travel with Ron Boone. He'll tell you guys used to go work a second job to pay the bills, right? But they're very structured now. And I've had multiple people say, when a guy plays internationally, that's a different than summer than when he doesn't. And when a player has surgery, they shut Gordon Hayward down once upon a time to make sure he had a healthy offseason. You've been down these paths. Mm-hmm. What is it like to not have a major injury, not play internationally, and be able to focus on improving?
It's great. Having a summer to work the whole time and to be healthy and be at home, be here in Utah, it's been awesome. Just that kind of consistency, going at it every day. You see a lot of growth. Obviously last off season with USA and everything, it was an unbelievable opportunity. Super thankful I did it. I'm super thankful for the opportunity itself. But, it's just traveling on the road is just during the off season, it's tough. So to be, here in Utah and home during the off season, it's been great.
What do you think that we will see as we watch you play that you will be improved upon?
I think number one, physically. I think just part of maturing. A big part of this off season is trying to put on weight. So I feel really confident about that, and just not only my physical maturity but my mental maturity as well, and just going to each game understanding that there's ups and downs. It's not a linear path up to the top, but as long as I learn something every day, there's positives to take from it.
How much more confident do you feel? Because bringing the confidence to the court, 99 times out of 100, it changes outcomes.
Right. A lot more confident. I think that having 2 years under my belt really helps. It's kind of weird that I am one of the older guys, kind of a vet. I'm not really a vet. I'm only played 2 years, but on this team I kind of am. So a lot of confidence going into it. I had a lot of talks with the coach in the front office. They believe in me, and so have a lot of confidence.
That was going to be my next question as far as what kind of conversations you had, particularly with Coach Hardy, because everybody wants to see you succeed.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole purpose here. What were those like as far as maybe a level of expectation, consistency, whatever that might be?
Yeah, just like you said, there's a certain level of expectation and consistency, but the expectation is just to go into every game with the right attitude and to play hard and to run fast and play physical. And because of that, with the expectation, that gives you a certain level of confidence as well. Because, Coach believes in a player and he says, hey, I expect a lot of you, but I know you can do it.
Yeah.
Is it different now just because the NBA is so different with the rules and the way the floor is spread and all that? And for a big guy, it really changes how you have to play. And I assume your comfort level now, you've had the successes, you've made the mistakes.
You just mean the transition from college to now? Or?
Yeah. Yes.
It's a lot different. Especially on the defensive side, in college I used to just pitch a tent and put a fireplace, in my little paint and just stay there the whole time. But, now at defensive 3 seconds, you have to be constantly moving, constantly aware of guys cutting, making sure you touch them just to make sure you get that 3 seconds reset. So it's a lot different.
And you defend 3-point shooters.
Mm-hmm, exactly. So it's a whole lot different, but, I'm getting more comfortable with it. And even on the offensive side, understanding that you can, where you see your cuts, where you see your slash to the basket, getting those offensive rebounds, getting those little pockets.
At your worst, and that's I'm setting this question up, so don't get mad at me. But
it's not a great way to start a question.
I know. That's why I said that. But I think you'll see it. At your worst, you're a defensive presence. You're a rim protector, right? Obviously, you can do more than that. But I'm just saying minimally.
Baseline, right.
Yeah, that's your strength. And now that you have going into 3 years in the league, you can learn some stuff about how to defend and all that. And you're already very good at that. But how much of the experience that you've had can make you be even more effective?
Yeah, I think it makes me a lot more effective, not only in the way of blocking shot, but just positioning. A lot of the time, there might not be a blocked shot, but just you being in the right position deters that shot or drive the lane, so they're dribbling out. I might get a stat for that.
Yeah.
But, it's a lot harder when they feel like they can't even get a layup up.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
When you're new, the game moves so fast. And partly it's because you can't see ahead. You don't know what's coming next.
Right.
Can you now see guys coming up court and know this is going to happen first, this is going to happen second, because that's what slows the game down?
Yes, for sure. I remember my first game playing. I made like one sprint down the court, and I was like out of breath because all your adrenaline's going. You're just like, oh my gosh. So it's definitely slowed down a lot. I think just being used to it and being in it and playing in it, you naturally just get used to it. Any
level of collectively, not just you, but the team will show all these doubters because there's plenty of them.
Yeah, I think – I like how you said there's plenty of them.
Not me.
Right. I think for us, it's not worrying about that and not listening to the doubters, but just playing our kind of basketball. We have a lot of young guys, so we're going to play hard. We're going to play scrappy. We're going to go into every night, expecting that's going to be a battle. And so knowing that, we just got to focus on that.
There is Walker Kessler talking Jazz hoops. DJ and PK proudly presented by our title sponsor, Black Desert Resort, Utah's premier golf resort. When we come back, we'll go to the podium and Jazz coach Will Hardy. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5 The Zone. The Utah Jazz are back at it. The training camp is open. They had media day yesterday. Will Hardy at the podium with the media.
These last two seasons, I think, like the common, criticism or comment from fans is that the focus has changed kind of midway through. Do you feel like there is a kind of unified focus for this season in a different way?
Yeah, I think focuses, number one, can change. I know from an organizational standpoint, we've been aligned the entire time I've been here. The lines of communication between myself, Jay-Z, Danny, Ryan are wide open all day, every day. And it's on all of us to make decisions as we go to do what we think is best for the team at the time, obviously with the future in mind. Going into this season, I think our vision is very clear. This is an opportunity for us to really invest in our youth. We have 6 players that are 20 and under. If you add Walker, it's 7 guys 23 and under. We're really excited about all 7 of those players. And we need to invest in all of them and try to help them grow and develop, and at the same time try to learn about who they are now, and where we see each of them potentially going in the future, what they can grow into. There's a big difference, especially when you're a really young player, of what your identity is now and what it can turn into. And so we have to try to identify both right now. Obviously, Lowry, re-signing was a big deal for our program. He's an all-star level player. He's going to be an amazing leader for our team, a focal point for our team. And him, JC, Patty Mills, John Collins, like all those guys are going to really help these young players grow. But our goal every night is the same as it's always been. We're going to go out on the floor. We're going to try to represent ourselves, our organization, and our fan base by playing hard and passing. And the objective any night that we take the floor is to win.
Well, for some of those young guys, I think that it's fair to say that we'll learn more about who they are and kind of their baseline as the season progresses.
Right.
But we kind of have a good idea at this point of Walker and Keontae because of how many reps they've had. Mm-hmm. So with those two specifically in mind, what is success going to look like maybe on a night-to-night basis or maybe through that first part of the season?
I think the biggest sort of overall thing for both of them is going to be their consistency. I'm not overly focused on what their quote-unquote best is, what their best game is. I'm more interested in what is sort of the baseline that we can expect from both players on a night-to-night basis, because that's what this league is. Even the top players, you see they'll have big outbursts in a massive game, but what separates the best players in this league from everybody else is that their floor is so much higher. Their average game is so much higher. And I think for Keontae and Walker, they each have experience under their belt now, and for them to sort of step into bigger roles for our team and our organization now and moving forward, it's going to be about their consistency night to night. And that's going to be in a lot of areas. It's not just how many points you score, how many rebounds you get, how many blocks you get. A lot of it is your poise, your kind of mental and emotional approach to every game, which is, it's hard, right? 82 games is a lot of times to kind of crank it up. But I think both of those guys understand that we're seeking a higher level of consistency from both of them. There's obviously plenty of technical basketball things that they've been working on that we want to see them improve in, but those all feed into that just general consistency of their approach and their performance each night.
What do you expect to see from the rookies this year?
That's a good question. For all of them, I expect sort of a normal entry into the NBA. It's hard. And I think all three of our rookies are capable of playing good basketball and contributing when they're on the court. It's on us as a staff to help them identify what their identity is right now. All three of them have shown a pretty high level of feel for young players. I think the thing that excites me the most about the three of them as a group is they can all pass. But I think for them, I expect they're going to come in eyes wide open. They're going to play really, really hard. They're going to have some level of failure at some point. Failure not meaning like catastrophic. It could be a bad game or a tough week, because the NBA is humbling. And I think what I want for all of them is to learn early in their career how to deal with a bad game or a bad couple of games, recenter themselves, and get back to playing productive basketball. No one has a perfect season. I don't expect any of them to have a perfect career, but they need to learn now that it's not all about them. Every night's not going to be about you. Every game, you're not going to score as many points as you want or get the stats that you want. And there's going to be nights that you don't play great, but can you still contribute to the group?
You mentioned how Lowry's going to be a focal point for this team. With that in mind, how important was it to get his contract extended over the offseason and kind of have him here long term? I mean, does it create kind of a sense of stability that you can build around him and have him kind of be a leader for the long term and short term for the future?
Yeah, obviously signing a deal like that makes everything feel different, not just for us as an organization, but for Lowry. I think this gives Lowry a different sense of security for him and his family. But yeah, as the coach, when the best player on the team wants to be here, he wants to be in Utah, he believes in what we're doing. He and I have been able to build a really strong relationship over the last 2 years. It's big for us because it also helps our ecosystem function. There's no question when we take the floor at practice tomorrow who the best player on the team is, and there's responsibility that comes with that. Lowry is fully capable and ready for that, but him re-signing this summer was great for our team, sort of the psyche of the team and the group. But I think more than anything, it just shows that Lowry is committed to the Jazz, committed to Utah, and he really believes in what we're doing.
Quickly, two things. One, is everybody healthy? And then two, since you don't have the veteran depth you've had in years past going into the season, if the rookies have to play day one, are they prepared to do that, or are you prepared to do that?
Everybody is healthy, as far as I know. The rookies are prepared to play, for sure, as prepared as any rookie is to play. I think they all are extremely competitive and tough, and I do think that, like I said earlier about their feel, it helps them fit into the game. None of them will look out of place if they go into a game. I'm fully prepared to play them. I think we've shown as a staff over the last 2 seasons that we're not afraid to mix the lineups up and play groups together that maybe we hadn't considered before, maybe that the general public wouldn't consider. But that's our job. And, it's my job as the head coach to approach our team like I approach every team. Let's try to think about what they are now and try to put them in positions to be successful. But I am more than ready to play the rookies.
I'm going to read you back a quote from season before last.
From who?
From you.
Oh, good.
It was post-game in Portland.
Oh, here we go.
Drew has been a pain in my expletive for a long time.
Yeah.
Elaborate?
Drew Eubanks has been a pain in my blank for a long time. I was fortunate to coach Drew when he was a rookie, his first couple of years in the NBA. I say that all with love. He is a very endearing, tough, competitive, coachable, wonderful human being. It's not just about the basketball piece. He's the kind of person that you want around your organization, your locker room. He represents and exemplifies a lot of what we're trying to be as a team. The selflessness, the toughness, the competitiveness. Like any player, when you coach him a lot, Drew and I have had our moments where we've not seen things the same, but that's totally expected. I love giving Drew a hard time. He's a really, really special guy. I can't wait for our fans to get to know him. I can't wait for you guys to get to know him. But correct, he is a pain in the ass.
And kind of on the same token, you've known Patty for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, is there comfort in the fact that he's here right now with you?
Absolutely. Patty and I have known each other almost 15 years. We spent 10 years together in San Antonio. He's one of my favorite people, not just in the NBA, but on the planet. And there's a massive level of comfort that I get knowing that he's here. Our team needs some veteran leadership. We need some people to model behavior for the young players. We also need people that are going to fully give themselves to the group. And, also Patty's an extrovert, and we have a team that has a lot of introverts on it. And I think that Patty's personality and energy is going to really help our locker room and help our team day to day. But I'm not shying away from the fact that Patty being here is also wildly comforting for me personally. And I plan on leaning on him a ton to try to help lead this group.
With Taylor and Bryce coming back, especially we asked about Keontae already, but how have those guys' games and bodies changed since April 12th of last year?
Their games have both grown. They've gotten a lot more reps. They've been put in different positions. Obviously, the end of last season, they got a lot of playing time in the NBA. Both of them were starting for a majority of that. And I think that this summer has been good for them to go play summer league and to get the reps in the positions where they're making more decisions. When you're the quote unquote fifth option on the court, it's different. You're not making as many decisions. I think this summer was an uptick in their decision making, gives them a different perspective on where they need to go. They've both done a lot of work on the court. Their bodies are probably the part that they should be most proud of. For any player, any young player, the NBA is very unforgiving, but it's physically unforgiving. And everybody on our team knew they had a lot of work to do on their bodies, but everybody's goals were different. I think both Bryce and Taylor have taken that directive, and they've worked really hard this summer. Bryce has really leaned out. He's incredibly strong right now. He's moving great. I'm really proud of the work that he's done, and he should be, because he's the one that put in that effort every day. Taylor knew that getting in the weight room was going to be a big emphasis for him as he continues to grow as a player. The different matchups that he's going to face based on his body type and sort of what things we're going to try to do with him defensively. And as of a couple days ago, I believe Taylor had gained 21 pounds this summer from the end of the season. So, both those guys, Keontae, Walker, they all deserve a lot of credit because they took the message for what it was. They didn't take it personally. And they spent the entire summer just doing the work. Little by little, they did the work, and we're showing up here to training camp, and all of them look great.
We talk a lot about, players' off-season regime. What do you and your coaches do during the off-season to, get better?
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes in the off-season. It's always through two lenses. The first one is you do a deep dive and examine yourself, examine your team, how you're playing, the roster, sort of concepts that you could maybe build off of, things you want to take forward, things you want to strip away. That's everything from film to analytics. There's a lot of think tank work that goes on in the off season as it relates to that. The assistants get to come up with or bring up all the crazy ideas that they've had. And the second piece of it is you try to study others. The playoffs being first and foremost. I know that I watched a majority of the playoffs. You go back and you watch it on film, and you start to study the teams that are in the position you want to be in. And what do they do well? What makes them good? What do I like that coach does? And try to take things from them. After watching those things, kind of projects and ideas usually spawn off of that. You're taking notes during it, and it's like, hey, I want to dive deeper on this concept. I want to take a closer look at this defensive scheme, this end of game concept that a team is running. And so it's always twofold. And then we have some meetings throughout the summer, and then as we get closer to training camp, we always have a little retreat where we all get together and try to crystallize everything and get on the same page figure out what it is exactly that we care about right now, the things that we'll maybe table for later, and then what we want to get rid of, so that we're showing up to camp unified as a staff in terms of what the priorities are, and where we want our focus to be as we open camp.
There's Jazz head coach Will Hardy. A reminder, you can win lunch from the Zone and Cafe Rio on Taco Tuesdays. Listen every Tuesday for your chance to win a $20 Cafe Rio gift card. We'll give ours away in the 8 a.m. hour. We'll learn more about Taco Tuesday and the great deals available every week at CafeRio.com. Stay with us. Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour today, we'll give away that gift card. When we come back, Kalani Sitake with the media as BYU enters the bye week. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5 The Zone. Time to talk some BYU football. The Cougars off to a perfect 5-0 start heading into their bye week. You may have had them 4-1, maybe you had them 3-2, maybe you had them worse than that, but I don't think anybody had them 5-0. Here's Kalani Sitake talking about his BYU Cougars.
Yeah, really excited to be here, and bye week, but the pressure moves on, right? So I'm excited to get to your questions, but I just want to first acknowledge that how fun it was over the weekend. A great game. Really enjoyed being there in Waco and to have that experience for our players, and great to see our fan base there representing, and tons of energy and excitement. Just want to thank them publicly, let everyone know that we appreciate our fans being there and the support that they give us, and speaking for our program, for our players especially. So a lot of fun. Got some really cool things to see on film, and some great learning moments for us, and we look forward to putting into work today. It's a bye week, but just some really cool things for us. I mean, I like that we were able to grind out that win. Would have liked it a little bit differently. I said after the game, probably too much drama, but I didn't mind it at all either, because I thought, this is what we work on every week and daily at practices, situational football. So I'm glad our guys are able to come through and get the win for us. But definitely some really cool learning moments and learning opportunities for us to get better. So still want us to play better. I like the way the team has moved from week 1 to week 5. I think we've improved every week. I like to see us play our best ball when we take on Arizona after the bye week. And but with this bye week, we're going to work really hard. We're going to still practice. I know some guys will get healed up because we're not playing a game, but this is an opportunity for us to get better. So we'll get back to work and practice, just like we would do a regular week. The only difference is not playing a game on Saturday and getting an early start on our opponents. So that's what we're looking forward to getting done, and also just making sure that we can be consistently at our best in all 3 phases. So looking forward to the matchup against Arizona. Probably talk about that more next week, but looking forward to the position that we are as a team, and making sure that we get better as a team and improve and play better next go around. So what questions do you guys have for me?
Thanks, Coach. We'll start with questions from Jay Drew and then Mitch Harper.
Yeah, Kalani, let's start with the unfortunate injuries. Were any of the injuries season-ending, and can you give us an update on the status of the running backs and Connor Pay and some of the other guys that weren't able to finish the game?
Yeah, unfortunately, none of the injuries are season-ending, so that's good news. Some of them will take some time. We'll see. That's highly doubtful for the upcoming game, but I like the way the guys filled in for Connor specifically. But he's still team captain. He's going to have to lead us, and that he did that during the game, and he's continuing doing it right now as a captain. So running backs, we're anticipating getting LJ back for the Arizona game. Hinckley, getting him back fully for the Arizona game. Who else? Sione Moa. We should be full strength at running back by the time we get to the game against Arizona. So, anybody else, Jay?
No, but to clarify, when you said doubtful for Arizona, was that Connor Pay? Is that who you were?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. The other question I have is we didn't really talk much about the fake punt after the game. Was that a call, or was that Vanderhaar on his own? And if it was a call, what did you see that precipitated that call?
That was a call made by Kelly Papinga. Great job. So it was a planned fake. So yeah, and he did great scheme, executed perfectly, and K-pop does a great job as coach. I love having him on staff.
Thanks, Jake. Go ahead, Mitch.
Yeah, Kalani, I wanted to ask you, what have been your impressions of how Jake Retzloff is just preparing each and every week as these weeks stack up, and how he's operating, away from the field as a leader in this program?
Yeah, he's doing a great job. I think he's working really well with the quarterback room, and in terms of the offense, I think he's starting to really come into his own, starting to feel really, really comfortable with everything, the timing of all of it, and it could get better. But I like where he's at right now, and I like where his mindset is. So, yeah, I look forward to seeing great things from him. We asked him to do a little bit more running last game, especially in the first half, and he did a great job for us. So he's willing to do whatever it takes, and I like the dynamic of that quarterback room. I like having Gary in there with his experience, and Micaiah Hillstead and Trayson Bourget and the rest of the group. I mean, they work really nicely together with A-Rod and Mitchell, with Matt Mitchell.
On the defensive side, you got 10 sacks, 27 tackles for loss through 5 games, a big uptick in that production. How much is that just simply the buy-in now that the players have had into the scheme, the knowledge? Like, what are you seeing as just the biggest differences from years past?
I think it's a combination of a bunch of factors, and you mentioned them. I mean, that we have a great coaching staff on offense and defense and special teams. And so I think the key, probably having a lot of veterans, helps out too, leaders, and that they're in year 2 of the system, understanding it now, and that's hard. That's difficult if you want to put in a system that's going to be effective. And I think now Jay and the rest of the defensive staff they basically have a lot of things that are available for them. I mean, the last call was something that was recommended to Jay from General Guilford, who understands the entire defense, and so when you have all these coaches that are giving their insight during the game and making adjustments, it's really cool that we have guys that are able to do that on both sides of the ball, and yeah, it's working really nicely right now.
Thanks, Mitch. We'll take some more questions from Jake Hatch and then Kevin Reynolds.
Kalani, you mentioned that Connor's going to be. Kalani, you mentioned that Connor may be out, obviously, against the Arizona Wildcats, but wanted to get your thought. Are you going to spend this 2 weeks essentially reworking the interior of your offensive line, or is Sonny Makassini going to be your starting center for the time being?
Yeah, I think we'll see what we can do with the group. I trust TJ to get the get the center position right, and then and have all our guys up there doing well. I mean, I don't think when we had our O-line from the beginning of the season, not a lot of people saw that we used Sonny and Austin Leusa and Sonny Makassini. And then even in the Kansas State game, not a lot of people recognize that Bruce Mitchell was a starter there at guard. So we have capable players. It's just a matter of what gives us our best 5 and who's the one that's going to be snapping the ball. So we have some depth there. I think TJ can figure it out, and I trust him.
Speaking on the offense as a whole, is there any particular focus you will take in terms of, I guess, practice this week, emphasis you'll be making on offensive improvement this week?
Yep, the whole team getting better. That's everybody, and I mean, it's when you have to look at the whole overall offense together as a playing without your 2 top running backs and making some changes at O-line, things like that. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do, but I thought the guys did a great job as far as assignments and guys doing the right thing, proper technique. I think it worked out pretty nicely. So we just got to trust the guys to get their job done and trust our coaches to do it.
Hey, Kalani, I don't think we got to talk a lot about it after last game, but when you think back to the 2021 Baylor game and compared to what you saw last week, how much do you think you've grown as a program just in terms of the depth and physicality, trying to build that up over the last few years?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've been trying to do since we got, invited to the conference is to really have this, a specific effort at trying to get bigger and more physical and stronger. I mean, if you look at the front, I thought we did that on O-line, D-line. Thought defensive line handled the run really nicely. The front seven was really nice against the run. I thought quarterback. I thought Sawyer Robertson, quarterback, made some really good throws. I mean, he it wasn't like, I think there's one play where we had a mistake in coverage, but everything else he was just trying to he was fitting the ball in some tight windows. It wasn't like there was that one touchdown that they had where it was a wide open guy. But for the most part, I thought he made some really timely throws and some accurate throws. And so, there's still some opportunities for us to improve as a team. And one of them is locking it down. I thought you have to give Baylor some credit, man. They fought back and got back into the game when we thought we had it under control. So.
And where do you think Darius Lasser has grown the most from last year to this year, now in his second year in the program?
Yeah, he was good last year too. I mean, he's a solid receiver and tons of talent, great ball skills, and so I just got to keep working. This whole team needs to stay humble, stay hungry. That's going to be our key, So we got to enjoy the win, come back today, and let's get back to the criticizing our guys and seeing what they did wrong, and let's fix it, and what can we improve on, and then praise them for the things that they did well. But great opportunities for us to learn and get better. Darius has done a great job. He's looking forward to getting better. And this week we've got to find a way to improve as a program. That's been our approach every week, and we just happen to be 5-0 as we're doing this. So we got to stay humble and keep working hard.
Thanks, Kevin. We'll take more questions from Sean Walker and then Ron Weaver.
Yeah, Coach, you might have just answered it right there, but I was going to ask about that hungry and humble mentality. How do you kind of focus on keeping the guys hungry and humble as wins start piling up, and obviously the attention from the outside is the magnifying glass getting a little bit bigger on this group?
Yeah, that's our job. We got to keep them that way, and just remembering that not a lot of people believed in them from the beginning. So I'm not really worried about proving doubters wrong. We knew from before preseason that we had a special team, so we're just going through the motions of terms of playing the season. But man, these guys are finding ways to get better, and I like coaching them. So everybody else it's not about proving everybody wrong; it's about proving ourselves right. So that's what our focus is going to be on, and staying humble. But we got to still stick to being aggressive and trying to find ways to become even better. That's the goal.
Yeah, Coach, staying on the topic of being hungry and humble, what's made Crew Wakely these last couple of weeks so hungry? I think he had an interception and then a sack, and before the Baylor game was tied for leading the team in tackles.
Yeah, I think the defense is about everybody doing their 111th, and when your moment comes and there's opportunities, you seize it. And so very in terms of looking at, he did a great job. So very opportunistic for him to make plays when they come his way. But without the other 10 doing their job, it's not easy. It becomes easier for him to do his. So I'm really proud of the way he's played, proud of the way that he keeps working every week to get better. And a lot of guys can learn from him and how, his approach, which is just put your nose down and go to work. And so we've proven that we're going to reward guys that do all the right things during the week. And if you do it right in practice Monday through Friday, it's probably going to show up on Saturday.
And I haven't had the chance to ask you this question. I saw something online that Elder Rasband was at the game and participate and give Connor Pay a blessing. I don't know if that's true, but if it was, how was that, aside from football, that you just see the church and just traveling at a national level, that the faith of football is always there with BYU as well?
Yeah, it's very comforting. And I think sometimes there's some really cool private moments that are, we have a lot of these private moments when we pray as a team, and we we serve together as a team to others, and then we also discuss and able to talk about religion. So yeah, I think those are good private moments. It was great to have Elder Razban with us at the game. We had just the interaction that we had with so many wonderful people. Elder Razban being one of many that were there that we love being around. But you know, we've had guys get injured and that have been able to receive prayers and blessings from wonderful people, and yeah, so we can do that here at BYU. We take advantage about it and talk about it, but it's probably a moment for Connor more than anything to talk about than me.
Thanks, Ron. We'll go back to Mitch Harper and then Jake Hatch.
Kalani, you know, on the topic of Elder Razban being at the game, you know, how much, you know, interaction do you have with Salt Lake in your role as the BYU football head coach and the brethren, if you will, and just their support that they show for you at these games and BYU football large? How much interaction do you have with them in your role?
As much as they want. I'm not gonna turn down an opportunity to talk to any of the leaders in the church, and so you know, I that's it's something that I enjoy, being mentored by so many wonderful um, leaders in our church that are men and women, and so I'm always looking for ways to get better, and so anytime any of the leaders of the church want to speak with me, I'm always available, and I'll always have an open door policy for that. So and then it just helps also to have a couple former players that are in, you know, in that are general authority. So you have, you know, Elder Nielsen and also Elder Sikahema that are there. So it's nice to have alumni that were coached by Lavelle Edwards, just like I was, and we speak the same language in religion and in football. So it helps out.
And going back to football, I'm curious. You've had to dig into your depth already this season. When players deep on the depth chart get their call to play, it seems like there hasn't been much of a drop off. What do you attribute to maybe the higher level of play from second, third, and in some positions, the fourth string guys stepping in and rising to the occasion when their moment's called?
Well, I think it's a commitment to the players that they work hard, they get their opportunities, and it's a, you know, we want to be able to evaluate it. And so really it's an opportunity for everyone to get better and get on the field. And that's just not on offense and defense, that's special teams too. So, and then also just trusting them to be in the game late in the game when these guys had an opportunity to play against Wyoming and gave up a touchdown. And then were able to play against Kansas State and didn't give up. They got a fourth down stop. You know, that stuff matters. And then you put in these moments where you can kind of get this valuable experience that maybe a lot of people wouldn't care about, but that stuff matters to us. And so all the little details of it matter. And so I'm glad that these guys are able to take advantage of their opportunities and the experience that they can get, and glad that we have coaches that put them in that position to gain valuable experience. I mean, you saw guys like Ice Moa make big plays when Harry went down, you know, and you saw just guys just stepping up. You know, John Peal that made plays, and so I mean, there's a lot of guys. Those ones come to mind because they stepped up, made plays. Sonny Makasini, Austin Liusa. I mean, Bruce Mitchell. There's a lot of guys that step up and are doing a great job, and they don't mind just doing their job and not receiving the spotlight. It's okay.
On a related note, Kalani, in the era of the transfer portal and so much player movement, how has your philosophy on red shirts differed? Because it seems like you've played a lot of these younger players as you've talked about, and with the 4-game red shirt rule, they may blow by that by mid-season.
Yeah, I think it's a case-by-case deal where everyone's, it's a specialized, so you have to talk about each person and then the position and where they're at. And I think it's a conversation that we do need to have. I think there's been other places just tell the kid they're playing no matter what. And I like to talk to them. I like to get feedback from the players on where they're at and where they think they can be. And we feel like we have a lot of depth. And so there's an opportunity where guys were forced to play during their true freshman year, and they can have that red shirt in their back pocket just in case they get hurt or something like that. And now we're in a position where there's a lot more depth, and we can see that we might benefit us to redshirt some guys. But it's okay to have the conversation, especially when they get close to the 4-game tally. And so we start to look at it and try to get a view of it. And I think we're in a good spot. There's nothing wrong with talking about it, and that's what we do.
How much recruiting will you guys do this week? Will you send guys out all over the country? What's the plan there?
Yeah. We'll have coaches out doing a lot of recruiting, and then we'll also have our analysts and our graduate assistants and people running practice. So I think the guys. I mean, I'm going to be here all week running practice and making sure that our guys get better and that we keep that intensity in practice alive.
Coach, we'll finish up with a couple questions from Jay Drew.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 questions, Kalani. On Harrison Taggart, you just mentioned, I forgot to ask you about him earlier. What's his status moving forward?
Yeah, we anticipate getting him back for Arizona.
Okay. And then, not to leave on kind of a negative note, but the deal that happened at UNLV with the quarterback opting out after 3 games because of NIL, is there any fear at all that could happen at BYU?
No. We don't recruit with NIL as being the focus, so that's not going to be a problem for us. Anything else?
Nope, that's it. Thanks,
Okay.
Coach. Have a great week.
All right, guys. Just another thing to add, just to talk about it. The way the team's working it's going really nicely. I'm proud of the team. There's this thought that we're not being aggressive in the second half when we have a lead. It's not true. Okay, so as we go through stuff, and we are not a conservative team. We've been very aggressive, and so in terms of conservative, we should have been a little bit more in this game, to be honest with you. But we faked the punt on 4th and 10, backed up in the second half. We threw the ball on 3rd and 9, got an interception. We threw the ball on 3rd and 2 late in the fourth quarter, got an interception. And if anything, we've had leads before and held on to them. Southern Illinois, Wyoming, Kansas State. So when people are talking about our program and talking about our mindset, we are an aggressive team. We like to find ways to make big plays. That's what we're going to do. And in terms of being conservative, I'd like to be conservative. Maybe that would have worked out a little bit more in this game if we would have done that. But we're working on it too. But when we're talking about getting better as a team, that's for all of us, myself and other coaches. We can all improve. But in terms of trying to find ways to be aggressive in the game, I've always said that from the very beginning. We're an intense team. We want to be aggressive, but we're going to do what's best for the team in terms of trying to win. And maybe on this game, we should have been more aggressive when people are accusing us of being conservative. Maybe we should have been less aggressive and more conservative. So it's funny how things work. I wonder if anyone's accusing Alabama of being super conservative in their game too. So appreciate you guys. Just as you look through this and you look at the grand scope of things, we know what we're doing. We're working really hard on it. Just want everybody to kind of see the whole entire game as they go through it and critiquing us, which we don't mind feedback. That works for us too, but make sure that it's all on the up and up. Thanks, guys. Go Cougs.
When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.